Hello, everyone. My name is Rafael Damas. I'm the exhibitions manager and curator for Taller Puertorriqueño. I would like to welcome you to this artist talk on Alexis Duque's exhibition, Los Dueños de Nada, which is currently on view at Taller Puertorriqueño. Um, this, Los Dueños de Nada, The Owners of Nothing is a solo exhibition featuring Alexis Duque's new paintings and works on paper with site-specific drawings on the gallery wall. Inspired by Eduardo Galeano's poem, Los Nadies, The Nobodies, the exhibition's title sets a tone for a topical exploration of lives often pushed to the periphery and overlooked by society. Duque, a Colombian artist based in New York City, is known for his detailed and surrealistic architectural artwork. In his new series, Duque shifts to figurative representation, focusing on lives impacted by migration, social inequality, and displacement. Informed by his upbringing in Medellin during a time of great turmoil and his relocation to the US, his works captures the resilience and humanity of those forced to the fringes of society. Despite the hardships, the people depicted in Duque's work maintained their dignity, joy, and resolve. Los Dueños de Nada is a powerful tribute to the strength and enduring spirit of those who, though often neglected, possess stories and dreams that refuse to be diminished. I would like to introduce you to Gabriel de Guzman, who is the curator and public art, who's the chief curator at Wave Hill in a public art and art center in the Bronx. He will be leading us with the questions regarding Duque's exhibition and works of art with contributions from me. At approximately 9:15, we will. I would like you to please submit your questions in the chat box to the right of the video. You can leave your comments and questions to the right in the video. And around 10:15, we will go to those questions and we will try to answer your questions and comments. But without any more ado, I would like to introduce you to Gabriel de Guzman.
Hi everyone. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Rafael, and thank you to Taller Puertorriqueño for inviting me to both write about Alexis's work in the exhibition catalog for the show and to participate in this evening's talk. I'm so thrilled to be speaking with Alexis tonight. I've known him and have been familiar with his work for about a dozen years now. I think we probably met at around 2011 or something like that, 2012 maybe. And I've had the pleasure of including Alexis's work in exhibitions at the Northern Manhattan Arts Alliance and at Smack Mellon in Brooklyn. Alexis has also exhibited at El Museo del Barrio, the Heckscher Museum of Art, Praxis International Gallery in New York, Schildkamp Gallery at Clark University, Worcester, Massachusetts, Ogden Contemporary Arts in Utah, sorry, the Alden B. Dow Museum of Science and Art in Midland, Michigan, and Gallery Oxholm in Copenhagen, Denmark, among many other venues. Alexis earned a Bachelor of Fine Arts from the University of Antioquia in Medellin. Welcome, Alexis. And
Thank you so much.
Yeah, congratulations on your beautiful exhibition at Taller Puertorriqueño in Philadelphia. Hi.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here this talk. I'm very happy to be able to share my thoughts, ideas, and process of this exhibition and have this conversation with Gabriel de Guzman, who wrote a beautiful essay about my work. The catalog is coming soon. And thank you to Rafael Damas, who's the curator of Taller Puertorriqueño, for putting this exhibition.
So, for this exhibition, you debuted a brand new body of work, a series of paintings called Los Dueños de Nada, or The Owners of Nothing. And Rafael, could you go back one slide? Okay, so this is an installation view of the show. And I think those who are familiar with your previous work they might be surprised to see a shift in your practice. Could you go to the next slide, please? So you've been known for painting surrealistic architectural landscapes of hillside shanty towns, rendered in very minute detail and often devoid of people. So these are two images of two previous works on the screen. Sierra is on the left. It shows a mound of stacked houses. And then on the right is El Dorado, showing how you sometimes fill most of the canvas with densely packed houses that recede into the distance, like an endless sea, kind of. But now your recent work is focusing on the inhabitants of those barrios. You've been depicting the people who live on the outskirts of South America's urban centers like Medellin, in Colombia, where you're from originally. Can you talk about what prompted this shift in the work?
Yes, as an artist, sometimes you have to reinvent yourself, try to renew your creative energy. Uh, it's true, my previous work was more architectural, drawing, detail, showing all these informal architecture constructions in many cities in Colombia and in the global south. Uh, it's a interesting question because I will say that the change happened organically in some way that I didn't plan to say like from this day I'm changing my style. It was something that happened as many interest for me for a lot of my paintings. I mean the ones that you are seeing right now, the architectural ones. I use photographs as a reference. Photographs that I've been taking in my trips to Colombia, but they are more like a spontaneous photographs, nothing like I want to be a photographer. Or I use photography as a tool for my work. And many of these photographs included facades, textures, architectural landscapes that caught my attention. But there was an element that I start to notice because these photos I've been taking these images for many years. It's not just a couple of years. It's probably a decade or 10 years. All the archive of images that I have, and I start to notice in many of those pictures there was an element that was included that I didn't notice, and it was the people. And I can say that this architectural structure that you are seeing now, they didn't have people. The people or the human presence was in the architecture, in the facades, was more like a post-apocalyptic vision or empty spaces. But I had the interest to paint human beings, actual human beings, and that's how I start to look detailedly to these photographs that I was documenting and recognize those figures that were there. So it was kind of like a organic process.
So why don't we look at some examples so we can get to know some of the people that you're representing. Let's move to the next image, please. So this is Embera Man or Hombre Embera from 2023. Can you tell us about this work and the person that's depicted in the painting?
Yeah, during my trips to Colombia, and I was visiting Chinchina, that is a small town in the Colombian mountain Andes, and I remember that I was sitting by the square and I was drinking coffee, and I saw this man. He's a indigenous Colombian Embera. They've been in Colombia for thousands of years before the arrival of the the Spanish conquerors, say. So I was attracted initially to the way he was dressed. I really love the colors in his clothes, the necklace, the pectoral he was using is very distinctive, or his embera culture, the hat and the mochila. And he was offering talismans or amulets, and I was interested in a couple of them. I bought it as a protection, and we have a little exchange chat. Conversation. I was curious to know a little more about him. He told me where he was coming from, and I asked him for a photograph. So he accepted graciously, and I was able to take a photo of him. Then when I returned to the studio here in New York City, I was looking at the image, but I really want to pay an homage or make an homage to this person, and I in some way changed the background and located him in the mythical place of El Dorado. That is this golden city, and the legends told it was in South America or in Colombia, but it was more like a way of giving a homage to him. And you see, like the floors are, the tiles are, we design pre-Columbian geometrical forms, and it was a way for me to represent him in a beautiful place.
No, I really love the way that you're sort of honoring this person and elevating their sort of stature, and also highlighting the jungle as well, right? In the
Yes.
natural landscape. Could we move to the next slide, please? So this work is called Domingo or Sunday from 2024. And it shows two young men sort of hanging out in an urban plaza in the city. How are these, or could you talk about, these subjects in your paintings?
The source for this painting was a photograph. I was also doing like walk in another town when I visit Colombia. And I went to a square, and I saw like this couple of men. I don't know what was the relationship between them. Maybe they were family. Maybe they were friends. They were chatting, relaxed, hanging in the park. The title of the painting is Sunday because it happens on a Sunday. It was like the day where you see people in the markets, in the squares. They go to enjoy the day. So it's very colorful. I really like to go to these places on Sundays. And I use the photograph, but when I saw them, I kind of like take a candid photo of them because I didn't want to interrupt the moment of the conversation they were having. But also I was not afraid to ask them for the photograph, but I was more afraid of if I asked them to pose for a photograph, maybe they won't be as natural as the image that I was able to capture.
Mm-hmm.
And I like in this image the psychological tension that they have. It's like they are introverted in a conversation. They didn't notice when I was in front of them taking the picture. They were like just abstract thinking or I don't know. So I really like the image, and I use the as a theme for this painting.
Could we move to the next one, please? So this painting is called En el Parque, or At the Square, from 2022. And it shows a Venezuelan migrant family in a park in Medellin. Sort of thinking about the displacement of migrants in South America and in the Caribbean. Can you talk about how you portray this family in the work?
It's a similar story to the other painting that I've been talking about. It's also on a photograph, and I was visiting family in Medellin, my hometown, and I was walking with my sisters in downtown area. It was crowded. It was like the center of the city, and I saw this family, and I really was impressed by the way they look. I really love the colors. They were very unified, and they were also very young. Uh, they were actually selling candies. I approached them, have a little conversation with them, and they told me they were from Venezuela, and they were staying in Medellin temporarily because they were looking for a job or for shelter. But so that's the situation, and really what happens with many people in Colombia now or in the world. So they are immigrating from one place to another place, looking for better condition of living. I use a bright color palette, say expressionist technique, to capture the immediacy and the fluidity of the urban life with the nature, the trees, the plants. But I also elongate the figures. It's a resource that I've been using in some of the most recent work. For me, it's a way or to remove the people of gravity. It's like I just imagine if the earth, the center of the earth, no longer has gravity, so you will liberate the weight. So it's kind of like giving them a elevation sense, almost like a spiritual dimension to them, transcendental dimension.
Thanks. Yeah, and I'm gonna ask you to say a little bit more about how you elongate the figures in your paintings a little bit later. But I really love the way that you are portraying this migrant family with a real sense of dignity, because these are people that don't have a lot. They might not have a home, they might not have a job, or know where they're going, or what their future looks like, but you're not portraying them in a sort of desperate circumstance. They look they they're shown with honor and dignity, which I really love.
Yeah, they're very nice, and I really love to have this little exchange with them. I enjoy painting them, like the color, the beautiful dress. They were very young. Their energy was beautiful, and that's what I painted them.
Thank you. So let's go to the next image.
Those people in the background, were they there in the photograph?
So now the images, I try to extract and subtract situations. The square, the architecture looks similar, but sometimes I change a little the backdrop, the backgrounds. So there is a man that is standing. I don't know if the image is possible to appreciate it here in this, but it's a man that is standing in the trees, kind of a vigilante attitude. I don't know. So it creates this kind of tension and in the painting. So there are other more subtle details that you will capture when you see the painting, each area of the painting.
Yeah, I'm always surprised when I look at your work. There's always new things kind of popping up in the corners.
Thank you.
Definitely. Did you have other anything else to add, Raphael? Or
Um, I mean, I definitely do. Not more than this, but I mean, I definitely do think that I love the way that you do. I'm kind of curious when I look at your work and these photographs. How do you, when you talk about painting, how do you thinking about painting versus photography? I know that you're sort of touching about this, and then I feel like you're kind of expressing that with when you're making the body elongate, but you're also taking these, you kind of like seem to straddle something online from what's real, what's imagined, some kind of some. So I guess my question is actually, how do you create this narrative? What are you looking in this narrative when you're having this conversation with your work, and what you see, and what you see in your
Yeah,
photo?
I've been these paintings are based in reality. Sometimes I make more imaginative work, but they also based in real people. I was interested in portraying them because the situation that was around then. I've been also interested in commenting in all this social situation that is happening in the world, and how they have migrated from Venezuela. There is a very complicated situation, and then there is like a hard road that they had to take to travel to another places. So it's kind of a tragedy in some way, but there is hope. I hope that I hope, and I want to show them with dignity and empowerment to them. The painting, as I mentioned before, is exploration of a new exploration of the possibilities of the painterly medium. In this case, it's more impressionist, where I try to use more bright colors, vivid colors. The previous work was more monochromatic, more black and white. So in this work, I want to explore more the possibilities of the color.
absolutely. Um, we move on. So I wanted to talk about the one of the major inspirations for this body of work, which Raphael mentioned in the introduction, is the Uruguayan writer Eduardo Galeano, and particularly his 1989 poem, Los Nadies, or the Nobodies. Can you tell us about Galeano and his poem and how it sort of sparked your Los Dueños de Nada series?
I I love the poem when I read it, and I think it's very inspirational. The message that the poem offers. I think this poem is like I would say it's like I go directly to your bones. It's like a electroshock of beauty and revelation. It's like a light in the darkness, and and I respect Eduardo Galeano because he's been a writer for many generations, and he wrote the Open Veins of Latin America, an interesting book about the effects of imperialism in countries, how they shape the government, how they create all this mess and wars and at the end, the people that is affected are the people that are the victims of the capitalist system. So the point is about the nobodies, the invisible people, the people that would say it's considered like nobody's. It's a beautiful poem. I don't know if you could read a little part, or I don't know if it's possible to show more.
You can just read it in this slide, but this is actually an image of
Oh, okay, yeah,
the
Yeah.
installation. The poem is printed on the wall in the installation of your exhibition, and so
yeah. I really don't want. I didn't want to like. I mean, I'm not poet. The poem for me was an inspiration, but sometimes the inspiration acts like you wanna reproduce the same, but it's more
Yeah.
like the effect that the poem has, and it's for me that I am a visual artist. It was not about doing illustrations about this poem, but it was more about being able with my work to transmit a similar message. I mean, that's kind of ambitious, and and the way that you can really make visible things that are invisible, or really change the world with your attitude, and yeah.
Yeah, it does really capture a tone to the exhibition. And if you and I do have the writing, if I do have the poem in front of me, if you want me to read it.
Yes.
And there's some parts of it which are epitomizes exactly what you're trying to do, Alexis, in your work. Did I read it?
Yes.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Okay, it's fleas of dreams. Fleas dream of buying themselves a dog, and nobody's dream of escaping poverty. That one magical day, good luck would suddenly rain down on them, will rain down in buckets. But good luck doesn't rain down yesterday, today, tomorrow, or ever. Good luck doesn't even fall in fine drizzle, no matter how hard the nobodies summon it. Even if their left hand is tickling, or if they begin the new day with their right foot, or start the new year with a change of brooms. The nobody's children, owners of nothing, the nobodies, the no ones, the nobodied, running like rabbits, dying through life, screwed every which way, who are not but could be, who don't speak languages but dialects, who don't have religion but superstitions, who don't create art but handicrafts, who don't have culture but folklore, who are not human beings but human resources, who do not have faces but arms, who do not have names but numbers, who do not appear in the history of the world but in the police blotters of the local paper, the nobodies who are not worth the bullets that kill them.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing this.
Yeah, I feel like the parts that for me that just kind of connect me like is when they say who don't create art but handicrafts,
Mhm.
Yes.
who don't have culture but folklore, who are not human beings but human resources. And then like said, but who do not have faces but arms. I mean, I feel this says a lot about this time in the gig economy where people are just working and are just becoming these human living automatons rather than being like people just like us who have families and who have a lot of gifts to offer the world, but are not really appreciated.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I think this is something I feel that when we put it on the wall, it kind of helps to set the tone of the work, and I think it adds kind of to part of the conversation of your work, in my opinion.
Yes. Yeah, it's a very good for me it was a very lighting to like a ray of light, and really it's a very point of departure for this series. Yeah, to understand it too.
Yeah, I mean, it really speaks to how you're celebrating the people that are often pushed to the margins and ignored, and you're centering them in your work, which is really beautiful.
Thank you.
Could we look at the next image? So this is actually an installation view from your show. So this is an older painting in the exhibition, one that you made when you were in art school in Medellin in 1994. It's called No Fear or Sin Miedo. Um, it shows that you were initially depicting figures in urban settings early on. So you see this new body of work as kind of revisiting an earlier time, earlier part of your career.
Yes. Uh, yeah, let me tell you a little anecdote about this painting because I was visiting Medellin early this year, and I went to visit my sister, and luckily she was able to keep safe a folder and some roll canvas of my early works, and
Wow.
I was really like a beautiful surprise because I wasn't expecting to see this, and I was curious to open all this because I came to United States, and I would say I lost a lot of stuff. I just came with a little bag, and I left many things in Medellin that I would say forgot. And so while I was unrolling these old canvases, I found this work, and I would say that it was in bad condition. I I traveled with it in my backpack, and I restored it, and I really was impressed by this work, and the say like the similarities in the process, and the way I was depicting people from by that time, from the people in this specific painting that is called No Fear, is a young boy uh, with the background of a iconic bus with a religious icon, and it was more an exploration into the urban cultures, the young cultures that were living in the 90s in Medellin, and the street people, and that this was a very conflicted time in the 90s, Medellin. There was a war between the cartels and the government, and I lived through that time, but I remember that I used to do another kind of work, but when I started this series in the 90s, it was like opening my eyes to the reality, and I wait to see the world in a different way, and processing all this information. But what I see in this world is that sometimes the creative process is like a circle. So sometimes you go back to your original sources and interest, and had like a feedback, and for me it was a tough decision to include this painting in the exhibition. I wasn't sure about it. I was like, should I not show this work? I thought that it's good to show that this kind of interest and ideas are like a thing that have been always surrounding my work and the process of my paintings.
So has a lot changed in the time since, in the 30 years since since you made this painting in Colombia?
I will say that is as some people say, like you leave the country 2 months and you see changes, but when you leave the country 20 years and you go back, you don't see anything changing. It's like the same, or it's worse. So uh, with the young culture, the street culture, I go to Colombia often, and I see similarities. I don't think I don't see things are changing or improving, or we'll say like it's a difference. It's like a similar. I don't know. It's just it's very strange, this sensation, and but the context of this work is very interesting to had the connection with the present work, because it was also the interest in these paintings were more like about marginalized community, people that were in the outskirts of the city, like the shanty towns, how this young survived and didn't have any possibility of living, so they had to take the bad paths or the wrong side of the life. So it's because there are many circumstances that they don't have opportunities for improve their lives.
Thank you. Could we go to the next slide? So I wanted to show this painting because I really think it shows a lot of the painterly quality that you've been working with in the more recent work, and some of the things that Raphael pointed out in the other painting of the Venezuelan family. I feel like there's been not only a shift in the subject matter that you depict in the recent work, but there's also been this stylistic shift as well. This painting shows an indigenous Embera woman holding a patterned shoulder bag, which is called a mochila, is that right?
Yes.
And so here you can see how different your painting technique looks from your more precise, highly detailed renderings of architectural scenes. The brushwork in this painting is thicker and it's almost impressionistic, and the use of the vibrant colors as well. Can you talk a little bit more about what motivated this sort of shift in your painting technique?
It's very interesting, this question, because it gave me the opportunity to explain a little more about the process and the change in my direction, to say direction. But it's something that I want to clarify is that even that is painterly, and there is a very detailed drawing inside the painting. The structure of the drawing is precise, is detailed. Like the drawing is the architecture that hold all these, I would say, flesh and colors and brush strokes. But the change in the technique was a decision that I took according to the subject that I was trying to, or this situation, specific situation, speaking about the painting in itself, no? So when I saw the photograph of the Vera woman, I really was impressed and obsessed with the color of her dress, the mochila, the beautiful yellow color that they whip, and she's holding like a Shakira necklace, and her expression is beautiful. And I really thought that with the previous work, I won't be able to represent her or paint her in the same manner. That would be like I needed to bring like an intensity in the chromatics and the colors and the contrast. So I was employing like a more an impressionist technique, strategy of painting. The brush stroke, the small brush strokes, almost like a pointy jeans, impressionist, which with a lot of contrast of colors, like the magenta, the greens, the playing with the opposite. That is a part of this way of painting. Is like you see the dress is purple, but the mochila is yellow. Is like the contrasting color. But I additionally add other colors to give more richness to the painting. So there is a moment that is also joyful to experiment the material, the possibility that the painting medium in itself offer you. It's no longer drawing, it's painting. It's like expressing emotion, expressing a specific moment, a moment of contemplation and beauty that I had looking at this Embera woman, that I really love the way she looked, and I try to also create this contrast in the dress that is very traditional with the mochila, but also she has the Crocs that is more like something that is the more say transculturalization of influences from the modern culture that is also present in the contemporary work.
Absolutely. Let's look at the next image, which shows a photo of of Embera women, right? So you can see how vibrant the colors are that they're wearing and the necklaces and
The traditional dresses, yeah, the colors are very bright. They use like a yellows, purples, they see the reds. They're very beautiful. It's like a fresh and inspiring and delightful to try to at least approximate to the sensation of the colors. Is something very special.
I can see why you were so drawn to it. And so I want to talk a little bit more about your process, especially for these new works, right? So this image shows your inspiration wall, which you have in your studio when you're making these paintings. It includes some of the source photographs and some sketches for the paintings that you've been making. Can you describe the process a little bit more? It looks like you start, as you mentioned, you start with photographs that you take of people in the cities that you visit in Colombia, but then it looks like you also you make sketches from the photos. Anyway, can you just tell us a little bit more about your process?
Yeah, for this work, I been like I had like a registry of memory of images. This new series has been being developed during the last 2-3 years. No, we start like at this specific new body of work, but the photograph that you see there are the source of inspiration. Like I got this inspiration from reality and many are different situations, different cities in Colombia, different regions. I went to Bogota, Medellin. I had the opportunity to go to the Chocó rainforest, to Guaviare, to Guajira. So these are a combination of different snapshots that I've been taking during the photos are older than the painting. They have been taken during the last 10 years. And that's what I was mentioning before, that the previous interest was more like architecture, texture, but I discovered that in many of those photographs there was also present the human beings, and I been using this photograph as a reference for the paintings. Sometimes I recreate the background, sometimes I alter the image, doesn't look exactly like the figure, but I try to keep like the essence of what I see in those photographs.
I see. I mean, it's interesting that, so it's not like you're necessarily taking photographs with the idea in mind that like I'm going to turn this photo into a painting. You just take lots of photographs when you're traveling, and then
Yes.
and then you decide, and you go back and look at them and decide, oh, I might want to turn this into a painting.
Yeah, more recently that I'm more aware or more conscious about this interest that I had, that I just discovered in the most recent work. I've been trying to document more, to take more photographs of people in life. I like to go to the streets, to markets, to public places where you see a lot of people, and some of them I ask them. Some other times it's just like a candy photo, because it's like as I mentioned before, when you ask someone for a photo, it could lose the magic. It could be like a more like a pose, or more rigid, or more. So it's better when it's something like a surprise, no?
Yeah, when it's kind of more candid.
Yeah.
I don't want to run out of time, so let's go to the next slide. And I just wanted you to talk about this work because I just think it's such a amazing work, and I think it kind of deals with a lot of the issues that you're working through and the context that you're looking at with this body of work. This is called Kings of the World, which was made from a mix of different sources, right? Can you tell us about this work and who the figures are that are represented?
Yeah, the painting it was created from different sources. I didn't have like a sub photograph of the young boys playing soccer or in a street.
Mm-hmm.
I just had this idea for many years, many times, and I tried many times to try to do this painting. I was frustrated. It was not easy. It was difficult to create a composition because you see five figures standing in the painting, and they are the composition is perfectly balanced. They are in the center, and to get to this is not easy. I mean, you have to really create a composition, a balance, and there are other things that you don't see, but that it's like the structure of the painting.
Mm-hmm.
The inspiration is a group of young boys playing in the streets. It's very interesting when you see the details in the painting. They will reveal like we are looking at them, but they are also returning the look toward us. And then there is one of the boys that has a cell phone. He's kind of taking a selfie or he's taking a photo of us. So it's like a duality with the way the gaze. No, they are looking at us, but we are looking at them. Uh, I decide to paint it because I think I have hope in young people. I hope like the changes in the world on the contemporary society. My hope is that they come from the young people. Or the young people are the ones that, in my opinion, the ones that create the revolutions. They are more willing to change the world, and but also they are more vulnerable. So I had this duality in the painting because they are playing sports, and sometimes I consider sports or the as a tool of control of I mean, for example, soccer is the opium of the countries, no? Like if people don't have a moment of entertaining, or they will be stressed. They won't be this cathartic moment. So this like this ambiguity in the painting. They are also painted in these elongated shapes. I try to elongate the figures, and this is a resource that I've been employing in the paintings as a way to create this spiritual dimension or superiority in some way, but it's more like removing them from gravity. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a yeah.
Like they're literally like closer to the sky.
Yes.
Um, let's move on to the next slide. And I'm not gonna go into this. I just wanted to show this as a comparison for previous artists that have elongated figures like there's an El Greco painting from the late 1590s, a late Renaissance Mannerist painting or Baroque period. And then on the right is Giacometti's Walking Man 1 from 1960 um, that had sort of similar aims about sort of elevating the subjects through elongation and making them look more elegant and divine in a way. But let's move on. Um, so yeah, and then I guess just to wrap up a little bit, I did want to talk about how you installed the works in your exhibition at Taller Puertorriqueño. Not only did you paint the walls these rich colors, pink and this sort of deep green, but you also incredibly drew these elaborate vistas on the wall around each work that act as a sort of framing device, and they also link one work to another, creating groupings within the exhibition. Can you tell me how you came up with the idea to install these works in such an ambitious way? And maybe
I
you
yeah.
could flip to a couple more examples, Raphael, please. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I always had like this dream or fantasy of doing this intervention of drawing accompanied by the painting. So we did the installation. I went to Taller and we had the paintings in the galleries, but I wasn't sure about the drawing. I wasn't, because sometimes it could be an element that can distract a lot or be not good for the exhibition. But I talked with Rafael. He gave me the green light, so we decided to do this, and I create this drawing with a gold ink Sharpie, and it's a technique that I've been using for many years to do street art and murals, and it doesn't allow mistake. You have to do the drawing, and it's just like it is. So it's the immediacy and the improvisation. So I was employing a system that is more like a automatism, more like a surrealist. So you leave the free flow of imagination, and but the drawing created with the old gold ink and the gold color have this association with opulence and wealthy, and I wanted to create like a connection, a drawing that connect all the paintings in the exhibition. So there is like a perspective that connects with cities that become roads that become rivers, surrealistic situations that enhance or add more context to the narrative of the paintings. And I really like the way it looks. I mean, I don't see here properly the details, maybe the image in my phone, but it's all about cities, cityscapes, and shanty towns, industrial cities, mountains, jungles, animals, figures. So it's all this included in this drawing.
It's just so impressive, Alexis. I was totally blown away when I when I walked into the exhibition and I saw, what you did. How long did it take you to install this work and the drawings?
Yeah, the Taller Puertorriqueño is I would say it's a big gallery. Was able to accommodate 25 pieces, so it was at the beginning it was intimidating for me. I went and I did the work in 2 days. I mean, it was like a very intense full-time work, a lot of concentration, and this was possible. I'm very happy I was able to to do it, and as I mentioned before, it's like a automatism. It's a kind of a surrealist trick where you just leave the flow of imagination. But when you see in details, like you see the painting and then the drawing, next, because you had to have the painting first and then do the drawing. So like the drawing is a continuation of the lines and the structure of the painting. So it's kind of like a play. I just playing in the walls.
Ah, that's so wild. I want to make sure that we leave room for questions. Maybe we'll Yeah, maybe we'll skip that one. On I want to go to the last, to La Playa.
Yeah, there's a question by Edna
Oh, okay.
Fuentes Casino.
Yeah.
She's asking, where did he go? I guess is to Alexis. Where did he go to school?
Oh,
I went to Universidad of Antioquia in Medellin. I graduated a BFA, and also went to when I was a kid. I guess when I was niño, I went to Academia de Bellas Artes, and I received like a traditional, say classic or academic training, painting still life, figures. So then there's like the basic school, and then I went to the university, and it was more into learning more about contemporary art
mhm.
and choosing like a path. Like I really, I always was very bidimensional, love to draw, love to create drawings and paintings. There was a lot of tendency by that time in Colombia to do like a installation, minimalism or abstraction or contemporary, more like a, I would say painting is contemporary art, but it was more like a pressure to create a non-traditional art. But I was more into creating paintings, exploring this. Yeah,
Yeah, that was really interesting. I I was just want to say something about the drawings and about the work process. It seems like you're responding to what you see, and then that goes into your work. And then I feel like when you did the drawings, Alexa, we talked about, how do we kind of unify the work and also work with the space of the gallery. And then that was your idea to come up with the drawing. Then you responded to the gallery in the drawing. So I feel like it's a nesting doll. Like you did one response, and then you did another response, and then I feel like when they go into the gallery itself, because it's very unique and you can't take it away, that the work you see the works itself, and then you sort of created an installation, that unifies within the gallery. That's only going to exist once in that space and in that format, which is really very kind of really very unique because you're kind of like because it's sort of like in music, we talk a lot about there's something called a call and response. And then that's
yeah,
something happening, and then there's like the call, and then you're responding. I think what you're seeing, and then you're responding to it, and then what you see, and then you're responding to it. And then that's it.
yeah. I think it was a good combination between the paintings and the drawing, and they harmoniously create this narrative and dialogue that reinforce the idea of the exhibition. And I'm really happy with the exhibition. I'm very sad that it's going to end on October 26th. I hope people be able to visit and appreciate the show before it closes. Uh,
Absolutely.
Yes, I hope so too. We'll have another few weeks, 2 weeks to go. So
yeah,
please come to Taller Puertorriqueño. We're open from Monday through Saturday.
yeah.
If you need it.
There will be a catalog and a video about the exhibition that the Taller
Yes.
Puertorriqueño offer for this exhibition, which I'm very happy to
Yes.
be able to have a record because it's a lot of work and short time.
Um, and yeah, I just wanted to comment on or just to kind of follow up on what Raphael was saying. I really feel like not a lot of painters work site specifically or create installations, but you really did that with the exhibition. So that was really impressive. And I just wanted to show these two because in these two examples, you're sort of combining the previous style of work that you were doing with the architectural, like tightly rendered architectural landscapes of the shanty towns with the elongated figures that you're capturing of the sort of city dwellers in Colombia. Is this kind of the next direction that you're going in?
I will say that is a possibility. I really enjoying this. I actually right now I'm doing a painting that is in this direction. It's a combination between using the photograph as a reference and the location of the figures, and also the background. I recreate all this like a aerial view of a city, and I did it like in a kind of atmospheric way. It looks like a little blurry. So there is like a distance. It's like a backdrop, and in this scenario, the characters looks more like a in a theatrical set. No, like they are like actors in a real movie or characters of an story. There is from real people. I kind of elongate the figures to give this elegance and distinction. They were no like posing or trying to fit into a standard of beauty. It was just the way that I tried to add more dignity and to these characters, no?
Yeah. Do we have are there other questions from the audience, Raphael, or
No, we don't, but maybe we can start wrapping up soon.
okay.
And yeah, because if you want to move into the last slide, we can do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, but just before we do that, I just want to show you this image, how that work was installed and how it responds
Yeah,
once with the drawing in the wall, which I think is just pretty amazing.
it really
Yeah,
is.
I kind of
Yeah.
like I kind of continue the background drawing like a more expansive way with the gold colors and the green wall. It really create a beautiful combination. I really like this image. Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like you respond to the drawings and the work. Yeah, you help them. So it's yeah, you just keep it just didn't finish with actual painting, which is pretty cool.
Absolutely.
So should we move on to the next slide?
Sure.
Last slide.
So
Just get that to scale.
yeah, I really wanted to ask you to talk about this work because it's called La Playa from 2023. It's a much different work than the others in the show. It combines surrealism and naturalism in a way. I guess I don't know if you would describe it as magic realism, but that's kind of what, what I called to mind when I saw it. And can you talk about, what was the inspiration for this work and for how you depicted the scene?
Yeah, at some point in my study, I had like a lot of images, and I had like all these images working in my brain, and I sometimes I just let like improvise or do something more imaginative. So the figures in this painting are from my imagination. I didn't use like a exact reference, but I recreate a scene of many people like they are in a port. They are like ready to travel. There is a boat in the background. There is like a metaphor about all of them, no? About the hope for the change or the realization of the dreams. There are different characters in the paintings, and there is a healer doing like a cleaning. There is a woman in the red motorcycle. For me, it was more like a symbol of liberty and freedom, and also the courage it takes to really jump into a this sea that is you don't know what is going to happen. So for me, this was more like a synthesis of the exhibition, like a recopilation of all the ideas in the in this new series.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's so much going on, and it's one of those paintings that you can't stop looking at because every time you look at a different figure or a different area of the painting, you notice some other detail or some other narrative starts to unfold. It's really, really fascinating work.
Yes, it is. Kind of reminds me of like when I first saw it, you know, I was thinking like with the shipwreck, the raft of Medusa with Jericho. And I was kind of wondering, you know, is this oh, is this a hopeful image? Because there are people in the foreground, or this is,
I
or is this, or is it dour
I
imitation?
I think this a metaphor of change. I mean I am also an immigrant. I came to United States 20 years ago from Colombia, and it was a difficult decision in my life. Like you had to jump to this sea that you don't know what's going to happen. Maybe you want to to be able to do your dreams. And I have opportunities to come to the city and be able to continue doing my art. But I understand the people that are coming, different situations, different routes, traveling to Colombia, to Central America to realize their dreams. And it's like it's very difficult to understand how it's possible that in contemporary times there is still this rhetoric of hate about immigration, and in a country that is basically or the essence of this country are the migrants, the people that came to this country. Nobody is originally from here, unless that you are like in the location that I right now, Manhattan is used to be the Lenape territory, no? So I don't know why the Western civilization has appropriated all these countries and created all these borders and how it's possible that these days the political scenario is about hate and about fear, and they like immigrants are the enemies when it's like the essence. I mean, could you imagine this country or New York City without immigrants? What are the flavor, the taste, the colors? So I think it's very important to think about to think about situation and in my position, I'm an artist, and this is my response. So you are able to get deeper into the painting, you will understand what is the idea behind it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
No, we're very fortunate that we're very grateful that you came to this country and you pursued your art career because yeah, we have this magnificent body of work that we all get to experience and kind of share and learn and hear the stories. And anyway, it is hopeful in a way, but it also contrasts with, you know, the reality that exists in the world and in this country and in other countries. So it's important to remember those you know, the context that you just discussed.
Yes, definitely. I had experience as an immigrant. I know how difficult it is. I know what is to be without legal status. I was without status for many years, and I was able to get my papers and be able to have like a social security. But I was lucky, and I can't believe that what is happening now in the world and what's going to happen with all this environmental devastation and the chaos that we are creating. So there are people in the upper levels that could make policies and changes and to really improve the world. I mean, this is something when you read Eduardo Galeano books, there is a way of understanding approach to understanding how the this country or many imperialist countries have created the condition of poverty in the Big South, meaning Africa, in South America. So, and they are clean. They don't take responsibility for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to wrap up, Rafael?
Yeah, I'm going to say, thank you for both, Gabriel Guzman for leading this conversation, and Alexis for doing this incredible work. Not only do I think that the theme and the topics of your work are relevant, but also I feel that you're very you take chances in how you and what you're doing with your art and the use of the paint and the drawings. And combining these different elements bring some sort of abstraction, yet also some realism. I really appreciate the assist, and also then just what you did to the gallery. You may, we're really going to be sad to see that show come down, and then to paint over the walls, because I feel that's going to be a work we won't be able to ever see again.
Yeah, I'm very grateful with Taller Puertorriqueño and with your curatorial work, Rafael. Really wonderful to have this opportunity and to show this work with the community and with the people.
And this is the proof of the catalog that I have. We're going to be sending it off to print soon. It is about 43 pages, and once we have it online, we'll be sending out a link so where people can order it. I'll be sending you some copies, Gabrielle and Alexis, for you to have. It's really nice. I'm going to be excited to show it to you. Actually, hopefully I can hand deliver to you. That'll be great. And there'll be a video coming out too in the next few days. So we just have to do some editing, some final cuts, and then that'll be it. But without any further ado, I want to thank our sponsors, the National Endowment for the Arts, and our other funders for the exhibition. And I want to thank you all again for joining us tonight in this exciting conversation with Alexis Duque and Gabriel de Guzman on Alexis Duque's artwork, and as part of the exhibition of Los Dueños de Nada. Please subscribe to our channel and subscribe to Taller Puertorriqueño for more information on upcoming exhibitions and events. This year we're celebrating our 50th anniversary. Again,